Growing up in Chennai in the 70s and 80s was an amazing experience. As a child, one of the things I cherished was to go to the movies. Typically, this happened when cousins from Bombay were visiting, and my parents wanted to prove to them that Chennai wasn't some archaic village, that we also did cool things. And the way that this proof was submitted was by taking the whole gang to a night show. So we would have dinner at home, the usual stuff, lemon rice, curd rice, those kind of things. And then we would set off at around 9:30. My cousin would ride his bike and I would sit in the pillion. The rest of the group would sort of walk there in the darkness. There would be the sound of crickets. There were no street lamps necessarily, so we would have to dodge the odd motorcycle in order to get to Jayanti Theatre, where we stood in line along with a lot of excited customers to get the tickets. There was no notion of buying popcorn or nachos or any of those things. At the most, my parents would buy us this concoction called kamarakat for about, I don't know, it cost 10 paisa or 1 rupee or something ridiculously small like that. And the chief merit of the kamarakat was that you couldn't bite into it. It was so hard that it was like Bhimasena. You either had to crush it or it would crush you. And the way you conquered the kamrakat was by keeping it in your mouth and sort of allowing it to melt over the course of 2 hours, which was probably why my parents bought it. So we would go into the movie theater and settle down, and then there would be this long Tamil movie, the 2.5 to 3 hours with Shivaji and Gemini Ganeshan and MGR and Jayalalitha. There would be song and dance. And then slowly my mother would hand us a newspaper, the first of many newspaper packets. And inside each newspaper packet was a homemade sweet or snack. We would get murukku, we would get salted peanuts, we would get maybe sometimes the occasional laddu, and this would go on. Each of us had our newspaper packet and we would eat it. You know, when I think of going to the movies now, I think the difference is that whether going to the movies is an event or an experience. Today's multiplexes would like to believe that they are selling an experience. You know, you have the gold class, you have good air conditioning in the movie theater, you have good sound quality and superb audio visuals. The chairs are comfortable, they recline, you can order stuff. Um, but here's the thing: every commercial establishment, it seems, is trying to sell what they call an experience. Hotels are selling experiences. Um Tourism companies are selling experiences. Movie theaters call it experiences. And in all their experiences, it is undistinguishable one from the other. So I think movie theaters and movie watching now is just another event. It's like going to a restaurant. It's like going. I mean, there's nothing. It's an event. It's not an experience. Going to Jayanti was an experience because it epitomized the quirky sensibility of one person, the owner. You walk in, and you know there were fans. It wasn't air conditioned. There were these violently purple velvet chairs with neon green sort of flowers crawling all over it, and I'm thinking this is one person's idea of what a grand movie theater ought to look like. And then there were the names, you know, in my neighborhood there was Jayanti and there was Tyagaraja and there was Ganapati Ram. And I'm thinking, did they name it after their daughter or their father? They had a father called Tyagaraja and the owner said, okay, I'm naming it after my dad. Or the daughter called Jayanti. And Ganapati Ram was considered uncool, an uncool name even then. So I've got to believe, I've got to hope that they named it after some dead ancestor and not some kid called Ganapati Ram. But in all these sort of bad fan, bad chairs, bad lighting, okay movies, long, never-ending climaxes. What survived was the memory of it. What survived was what I would call a true experience. Or maybe I'm just being nostalgic. For Mint Lounge, I'm Shoba Narayan.